Todd Barclay.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I'd just like to make a contribution with regards to the former member's comments around the 100-year celebrations of the existence of the Labor Party. Who would have thought? I suspect the forefathers of the Labor Party today, looking at those benches, would be disappointed at the scant affair that is being represented there today. And also, Mr Speaker, another point I'd like to just acknowledge in the last member's speech was we heard so many times about how she's got a vision and she's got a contribution for New Zealand's regions, yet we didn't hear one initiative, not one sausage, about something that she would do in her home seat of Hamilton, Mr Speaker. And she also thinks that the new expressway announced by the Minister today would be suitable for a landing of a Jetstar plane. Also not quite appropriate, a bit out of touch, I would think, Mr Speaker. I'd like to join in my colleagues and the colleagues across the floor in acknowledging Queen Elizabeth's longest-serving time as monarch in New Zealand. And I'd like to acknowledge Paul Foster-Bower, who's taken the opportunity to host a function of recognition of that tonight, Level 2 Parliament House. And I'd just like to take a couple of themes in my presentation, Mr Speaker, and that is around education and around tourism, and specifically relating to the Clutha Southland electorate. But first, I'd like to acknowledge my senior colleagues who, since I've been elected almost a year ago, have gone out of their way to come down in droves down into Clutha Southland electorate and meet with my constituents and familiarise themselves with the issues facing our region and taking real action to address some of those challenges. We've had 51 town visits by ministers and MPs from 18 of my colleagues over the last 12 months. So for the opposition to say that we're not focused on the regions, I've had half of caucus down to my electorate over the last 12 months. Haven't seen many Labor MPs down there. Seen Annette King down there observing the mess that she created when she was Health Minister. It's taken a national government to put in a commissioner and finally sort out the issue that successive governments have been facing with Southern DHB. It's taken Jonathan Coleman to make the call and put in a commissioner, and she's doing a fantastic job. As a future plan for Southern DHB is what she's working on now, and I look forward to seeing her communicate that to the district in the coming days. And Mr Speaker, just regarding Southern and health in the area, I want to acknowledge a project that I'm personally involved with, which was initially driven by the former Member of Parliament for Clutha South and Bill English, which is looking at alternative forms of governance for Wakatipu health. There's a feasibility study going on at the moment to see whether or not health in Wakatipu district can be managed or governed in a separate way. The former Minister of Health, Bill English, introduced community governance in Gore, Balclutha, Oamaru, a number of other areas, and that's having a significant impact on our area. Gore Health Limited, only 60% of their funding comes from DHB contracts. The remaining 40% comes from dentists, chairs, from GP services and from a mole mapping clinic and services all the way up to Ashburton. That's innovative thinking from provincial New Zealand, and it's something that Queenstown can be a part of as well. So it's great to see new initiatives being taken up by this government and exploring new ways of doing things. Mr Speaker, with regard to education, I've been proud to be able to promote and drive the government's Community of Services and Community of Schools initiative, which so far has seen 12 of our 72 schools sign up. We've got a further 15 schools that are either in negotiations with the Ministry or have put forward an expression of interest to be a part of a community of schools, Mr Speaker. This provides an innovative way for schools who are already working together to further strengthen their relationships and combine resources in order to get great outcomes for specific learning difficulties in particular areas in a geographical area, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, we've got Matara School, which has an art demonstration at Parliament at the moment. It's the largest ever art display that's been in the Parliament building, so I encourage all members to go and check that out. It's a piece of Southland that's being displayed in Bowen House at the moment. Mr Speaker, we've got a number of initiatives going around in education. The Minister came down and she's met with almost all of our principals and Board of Trustees representatives over the last couple of months in a series of meetings to find out what differences they need in order to continue doing a great job in education, Mr Speaker. In terms of tourism, we've got a number of great initiatives going on there. Tourism is a part of the economy which is booming at the moment. Tourism in Queenstown is going exceptionally well. We've had about 1.9 million visitors last year, Mr Speaker. It's 4% of GDP nationally, just behind dairy. we've got a number of projects going on to help sustain tourism growth in the area. One that's I want to mention on before sitting down, Mr Speaker, is the Milford Futures project, which I'm driving at the moment. It's to find a new way to sustainably manage tourism into Milford. So thank you, Mr Speaker.